the Arena Football League continues on TNN. When the Los Angeles Avengers drafted Victor Hall, they got an arena football veteran, one who loves the game and who appreciates the chance to play it.
Mrnovich's pass complete to number 87, Victor Hall.
It reminds me of college, a close-knit family. The fans are loving the game, and they get to know you. You get to know the fans, first-name basis, and you go to different functions, and they're there.
Football is in Victor's blood. It has been since he was a star athlete in high school and college back in Alabama. It used to be the only thing that mattered to him, but not anymore. These days, football is only part of Victor's life. Away from the game, he spends most of his time working with young people. Victor claims that's his true calling, helping people. And he discovered it by accident the night a brush with death changed his life forever.
March 11th, 1987. It was a tragic time for myself.
March 11th, the night Victor took an unforeseen turn on a dark Alabama road. He was driving home from his girlfriend's house. It was late and Victor was exhausted. Somewhere along the way, he fell asleep behind the wheel.
And when I woke up, I kind of mashed the brakes, and I happened to be in some gravels, and my brakes locked, and I started tumbling. I flipped 7 times before I stopped, and I was conscious the whole time.
Victor was conscious enough to know that his face and body had been torn apart. He was bleeding badly, and it began to sink in. This is what it must feel like to be dying.
And I was like, oh, God, what have I done? And luckily somebody was in the neighborhood, and they saw the wreck and called for help. But when I got in the hospital, it was another, that's another story.
At the hospital, Victor was taken straight to the operating room where doctors battled to save him.
I went into surgery the first time for 13 and a half hours, and in that course, they lost track of me. My heart stopped beating. I think they said they shocked me 2 or 3 times. Then I came back, but it's like if I close my eyes, I can remember that day.
What Victor remembers next is the part that many people have a hard time grasping. Because there in the operating room, when his heart had stopped beating, Victor believes a figure in the shape of a bright light came toward him.
This figure I actually was talking to, and it was telling me that I had a purpose of life, and I had to find out what that purpose was, and it wasn't my time to go.
Victor remembers that the pain from his injuries went away, and a calmness fell over him as the figure continued to speak. It told him that he was put here to do good, and that he had to search for ways to accomplish that.
But when I came through, it took me a while to find out what, that meant. And then I started helping kids in the community, giving more time, helping people when they really need it, helping people if they say they need it. And that's what I think my purpose was, to help kids, to get them on the right track.
Lying in his hospital bed, Victor thought more and more about what the figure had said. And it became clear to him that the accident was meant to be his wake-up call. Within 6 months, he was fully recovered and back playing football. But this time, Victor also had a passion besides the game.
I feel like I got a second chance and a third chance. I don't know. They always say God's look over children and food. I didn't know which one I followed under, so I'm just one of them.
As far as anybody knows, he's the only arena football player who can honestly claim he came back from the dead. A survivor of a dark journey that ended with a bright light and a roadmap for a new life. The life and time of the Arena Football League continues on TNN. When arena football says it's looking for a few good men, the ones who sign up sometimes get a tour of duty they never quite expected.
I'm ready to go home to see my mama. I've been here too long.
That's the story at this windswept National Guard post outside Des Moines, Iowa, where a group of Barnstormers are about to find out what they're made of. For the first few weeks of the season, these barracks are the home away from home for Iowa's players and coaches.
1, 2, 3, defense.
A training camp that's more like boot camp.
Go, set.
And a football team that feels like it's in the Army.
Army or prison or something like that. But no, it's a great place. And we did it last year, and I think we all came in a little bit skeptical. It really worked out for us, and I think carried us a long way during the season.
We laid the field down out in the middle of a parking lot out there, but it ends up being a very good site for us because we have the wall up on one side. The players can get used to playing with a wall, and it's kind of a relaxed atmosphere out here at Camp Dodge, and lots of fun.
But Aaron Garcia sometimes misses his other job, the one back home in Sacramento. He's a football coach at his old alma mater, Grant High School.
Go, set, hot.
I've heard a lot of coaches say, man, if I could go back and play knowing what I know now as a coach, you know, I would be that much better. And this allows me to teach these kids, but also, you know, try and learn from them.
Arena football may take a lighthearted approach to sports, but the league is totally serious when it comes to helping kids. An amazing number of players across the country have committed themselves either as teachers or mentors. In Des Moines, the YMCA has set up a special youth outreach program that places members of the Barnstormers team into classrooms and onto playgrounds to serve as role models.
We've talked to some of the teachers and principals who have told stories about kids who won't open up to their teacher or they won't open up to the counselor, but when our ball players come in, they talk with them, they're animated with them.
I've been close with the Shakester, huh?
At any arena football game, the place where kids hang out is at the autograph line. It's a regular event for every team in the league. Corey McCoy, one of Arizona's offensive specialists, does more than just sign autographs. He gives young fans his game gloves as souvenirs.
My last one. I'll go get you one now. I'll bring you one back.
Oh, it feels great. You know, I've been out a year and just getting back into the swing of things. And Arizona has some great fans.
You think I'm gonna let you hit me in my head, you crazy?
It's not unusual for all kinds of athletes to spend time with young fans. But the ones in arena football seem to have a special bond with the kids, a connection that's genuine and rare.
We'll beat them next time, right?
Yeah.
I think they connect in a down-to-earth level because they're with the kids regularly. What often happens when big-time athletes come into town, they may come in and do a clinic. Maybe they'll spend an hour with 500 kids in a gymnasium. What's different with this program, though, is these players actually develop personal relationships with the kids because they're with them every day.
Those personal relationships have convinced Carlos James of Iowa that he wants to work with children for a lifetime, even after arena football is over for him. He already runs the Players Outreach Program at the Des Moines YMCA.
Trying to convince these kids that they really need their education after they're done because, you know, I tell them all the time, I play professional football in the summertime, but then when that's over with, this is what I really enjoy doing, giving back to the community and working with kids.
Counting on professional athletes to act as role models for young people can be a risky business. But so far, the Arena Football League has a solid track record by enlisting its best and brightest to the cause.
And these kids, they don't know the difference whether this is Brett Favre or Scott Semptimphelter for the LA Avengers. They know that they just got to see a guy in uniform who's a great athlete perform tremendously and demonstrate courage and character and commitment and teamwork and all of those values that, frankly, as a parent, I want my kids to learn.
Some players insist that trying to set an example for young fans is an obligation that goes with the territory of their celebrity.
Because you're in the public eye, and everybody, whether you want to believe it or not, really does look up to you. You have a lot of kids that say, hey, you know, I want to be a football player. I want to grow up and play arena football or, you know, go to the NFL. And I think it's a huge burden, but if you're willing to do the right things and take the right steps, you'll be fine.
Lots of players realize this is the best part of their job. A chance to connect with young fans is something more than just another athlete in a uniform. They consider it part of their call to duty, a job for the few good men who've signed on with Arena Football. Of the Arena Football League continues on TNN. For all its ups and downs, Arena Football has remained constant about one thing. Orlando, go home! And that's its fanatical devotion to the fans. To call it a mere spectator sport is to ignore the realities of what it's like in the arena. The fans aren't just on top of the game. Very often, they're in it.
It's high-paced. I mean, action is right in your face. I mean, they come and see you in the stands sometimes.
In Arizona, they've got the Snake Man, one of many Rattler fanatics who takes team spirit to the ultimate level.
I have a snake, 21-foot stuffed snake, that we take to every game. It's just a fan-oriented sport. I mean, I hang out with all the players. They go out with you during the week. It's a blast. I mean, there's no other sport like it.
It's all about the public and giving them what they want. A unique brand of entertainment that's more than just another arena football game. Hunkie Cooper is one of the top players for the Arizona Rattlers, and he knows where all the wildest arenas are. Like Iowa, for example.
You got people throwing corn shuck and batteries, and you go down and they're right on the field. I mean, they're actually on the field with you. And then you go to Albany, where it's really loud and people just brutal. Orlando, it's a lot of places here. It's hard to win. It's hard to hear.
Count on the game to start off with a bang. And where it goes from there is anybody's guess.
I think probably one of the craziest things, my first year playing for Arizona, first game actually, coming out at halftime, and they had a big buffalo running around on the field, and he stopped right on, I want to say probably about the 20-yard line, and kind of relieved himself in front of, I don't know, 15,000 people, so it was something I hadn't seen before.
Where is he? Where is he? There he is! Rock and roll!
Arena football calls the home crowd the ninth man. One giant collective teammate to the 8 players on the field. Rowdy supporters can make a big difference just by pumping up the volume.
Fan at home is an advantage in this league. You do have your home fans, and it does make it a lot tougher for other teams to come in because everything is so compressed together.
But sometimes the fans go too far, like the time an Iowa booster snagged a pass away from a Buffalo receiver.
We assumed that it was going to be a touchdown, and they threw the flag. The refs came back and just said it was a 5-yard penalty, and we ended up winning by 3 points. So that fan saved us to save the game. So after the game, I went and gave him like 2 or 3 footballs.
If the fans take a few liberties with the rules from time to time, maybe it's because they know arena football was made for them. The Arena League makes no bones about calling it a consumer product, and the customer is always right.
It is interactive in that footballs are going in the stands, players are going into the stands. It is high-scoring, helmet-popping, heart-stopping action all the time.
There may be a lot of showbiz in the arena, but behind the scenes, it's all pure football. And in this game, where big men charge around a small floor at full speed, people get hurt.
Over the course of the season, we'll go through 125 cases of tape, probably 25 cases of pre-wrap, all kinds of different specialty tapes. So we do what we can to hold them together.
Some people ask if the hard-driving action in arena football is real or staged somehow, like it is in pro wrestling. Up close, the answer is clear enough. It's real, all right. Dangerously real.
In my first 2 years in this league, I didn't get through the season. I broke 2 bones in my back the first year and my collarbone the second year.
As they put their bodies on the line, though, arena football players have started demanding bigger paychecks in return. The 2000 season almost didn't happen because of the dispute between players and management.
really good player in our league can make $50,000, $60,000 a year, plus housing, plus his meals. And really, when you think about a 4-month commitment, that's not bad. That's more than a lot of those fans who are out there watching him for making.
This labor issue has certainly launched us, I think, to the next level. We now have, and hopefully will have, within the next year, a long-term collective bargaining agreement with the players. They'll have the benefits that they deserve for playing this game, and they'll actually be treated a little bit more like professionals instead of like part-time employees.
Regardless of how the pay issue is resolved, arena football in its 14th season is still a work in progress. A lot better off than critics ever dreamed, but not nearly as rich and prestigious as most major professional sports. The founder of the game believes if America gets a chance to see arena football, the country will love it. Clearly, the game has already found its niche in the cities where it's now being played.
I've often said to people, if you're a purist that loves a defensive battle in the mud, 6-3 final score, this is not going to be your cup of tea. But if you like to see the football put in the air, if you like to see a lot of action, if you like to see interceptions, a lot of excitement, a lot of balls moving around, a lot of activity, it's a great game for that type of fan.
Only Jim Foster could have envisioned how such an odd mix of silliness and sports would someday win over even the most cynical sports fans. Arena football. It started out as an American original, and it still is.